Hi guys, it's Sophie. Welcome to Sophie Knits. We're in the garden this evening. Just wanted a little bit of light. I tried to film inside and it just looks like it's the depths of winter. And we're not in the depths of winter. We are in the very end of summer. Is that better lighting? I'm trying to catch the sunshine. There we go. So I thought I was gonna do another knitting vlog of just joining me for a week as I knit. I thought I'd just tell you a little bit about my plans to start with. So I've cast on this, which is the Victoria shawl. It's lace, so it looks a bit scrumpled as lace does before it's blocked. But this is a Sari Nordlund pattern from her new book, Summer Knits. And this is a gift knit. It's going to be a wedding gift for one of my husband's friends. So I'm getting a head start on that one as they're getting married in November. And then I did a swatch, this swatch here, for the cinema sweater, which has been on my list for such a long time, but I hadn't swatched for it yet. And I'm really far off on gauge, so the pigeons are fighting. So I'm far enough off that I think I would change the fabric too much if I was to mess around with needle size. So I've had a conundrum. So I have this large quantity of fingering weight yarn. It's knitting for Olive, merino, pigeons. I don't know if you can see them. They're up there, they're causing chaos. I can only imagine that they're doing exciting pigeoning activities. But I've decided that I'm going to go for it and I'm going to cast on my knitted dress. So that's part of the reason why oh my god, get a room. It's part of the reason why I wanted to start filming, was to film the process of this for myself, from swatch to dress, because I do think this is going to be a long-term whip and I love the idea of looking back on it. It was my first goal on my Make 9 this year, and I know it's going to be a commitment, but I really think I'm going to love it. I am going to knit the Twiggy dress, which I talked about in my autumn roundup. So if you haven't watched that video, give it a look at. There's a number of different patterns in there that perhaps you haven't heard of. But yes, I'm going to start and cast that one on. I also have a pair of socks. I'm just starting off just plain vanilla socks, though I might maybe take the opportunity to practice doing an afterthought heel because I haven't done one of those before. And I'm going to be knitting those tomorrow because we are having a little family day out tomorrow, so planning on taking those ones with me. But yes, I thought I'd bring you along. I think I'm going to carry on knitting a little bit on this scarf, and then maybe I might cast on my dress.
Yeah. I guess you could just leave it there and then we can do the background in. Hello. Come on, look at mommy.
Why is that?
Look at yourself.
Hey, so we went to the zoo. It was awesome. We had such a great time. And I'm home now and I've been knitting on my little shawl. Hang on. I should have put it just a little bit closer because I've just been loving it. It looks like crumpled because we need to block it, but we're just starting the deep creases. But I've had this really strong urge for a little while now to organise my knitting notions, and I thought that could be fun to do together in this vlog. I have 2 little boxes, so that's how big they are. There's my hand on top, so they're not terribly big, like 2 hands width. I have 2 of those, and one I have all my sewing notions in and one I have all my knitting notions in, and it's just not working very well at the minute. So I think I'm just going to tip everything out from both boxes and then try and do some sense making. Although I have pins in my sewing box, I think I might do sewing and knitting separately because I don't want to throw pins over absolutely everything, and there is a risk of me doing that. But I think I need to look at the 2 together because I have buttons in both, and I think I need buttons in one place. I also have this little folder that I think I might repurpose to put some fixed circulars in, and I need my label printer that's upstairs to help me do that too. But let's just start with, in fact, let's start with the sewing box. I'm going to start with the sewing box. I'm going to pop you down. So I think this is the best way to see what's going on. I'm going to take my pins out, and then I am just going to plug it. Okay. So the first thing I have is my sewing machine manual. That is going to live in the bottom. That makes so much sense for that to be where that lives. And other stuff I don't have that much kit to sew, really. And the aim was to be able to put in this box. This box is one of these boxes. You know, like sometimes you just have boxes that you have that like last forever. This is one of those. I can't even remember when I got this. Like, oh my goodness, I think I was a child. So yeah, it's just one of those that's lasted forever. So I've got some sewing machine feet, so I think that, and some spare needles. So I think the first thing that makes sense is to make sure my like core sewing stuff has a home. Yeah, I've got another spare needle there, and a couple of threading needles as well. Then I have these like little tools to turn thin things inside out. So I wouldn't mind, I don't think they're all going to fit in there. I think some of them, I don't know where that one's thing has gone. Got that one there. Yeah, I think so. Oh no, they do fit. They will fit. And then I've got some fabric clips. I think I'm going to keep my snaps. I think I'm going to get rid of my safety pins. I haven't yet used safety pins for sewing anything, and I tend to just use normal pins, so I think I'm going to say goodbye to those. But what I might do is keep the bag because it's a pretty solid bag. So let's get rid of the safety pins, but I think I'm going to keep it, and I will keep my snaps in there. I'm going to keep, actually, should I keep these loose things in here? Or that might make more sense, just because these are a little bit smaller. Should we do that? So we've got my feet and stuff in there, and then the snaps can come out as kind of clips. I've then got a little seam ripper that can go in there, and then I have a few like random things. So these are my bobbins that I've wound up for specific things that I would have sewed, but that one probably will fit in there, I suspect. And then I have just a selection of different thread colours, so I think it makes sense to keep that in there if I can. These things are just awkward, right? Like, they kind of fit in the box, but it means nothing else fits in the box. I don't know whether I should just not worry about them for a minute, actually. Then I've got my rotary cutter, which I think is so useful. I don't mind if that one doesn't go in a box. And I've got some replacement blades for my rotary cutter, so those will go in there. Then I've got elastic. I don't know where this other piece of elastic has come from, or whether I took it out of this pack, but I have some elastic that I think I was going to use to take the elastic out of a skirt that's elastic was going out, but I didn't end up doing that. So I think I'm just going to rewind this in here rather than having that loose. Yeah, I don't think I bought this separately. I don't know. We're going to put all the elastic together. I think that makes sense. And oh, I wonder whether I tried to use it for a knit. I wonder if maybe I bought some to try and use it for a knit rather than for the skirt, and maybe the other bits were for the skirt. I ended up not going with it for that skirt anyway, so yeah, there's all a bit of a moot point. I'm so like, this is, I'm so terrible at organising things because all I do is just change my mind. Because now I'm like, would it not just be easier to have them all loose in here? I think it's going to be easier to have them all loose in there. I'm going to take them off of this thing and shove them into this bag instead. Because then they're squishable rather than being on something that's not squishable. So let's do that. Let's come off. Come here. Come hither, little elastics. And I'm going to get rid of these. What's that? What's this to measure? Yeah. I don't sew terribly often. I've definitely not got the same level of confidence with sewing as I do with my fibre art stuff. And I actually really want to finish sewing a pattern that I cut out like a while ago. I was hoping to do it when I had my week off, but I got quinsy and got really poorly, and so yeah, there was no chance of me like having that time that I'd hoped for. I have got some time off in September, so I think it could be good then to just like prompt me to actually go through it and fix things up. I think that one can live outside the box because it's contained. Yeah, it's mostly confidence rather than anything else. Just got some black and white thread that's getting in the way. I think I'm going to keep all of this together. So this is the hardware kit for the Bestie bag, which I haven't actually even cut out yet. I meant to, but I just haven't yet. And then I have a couple of fabric pens. I think I'm probably going to keep one, but to be honest, I don't really use the pens. Mostly I just use this one. Can't see if you can see this like white pencil. So I think I might keep the blue pen and the white pencil, and then get rid of the other like markers that I just tend to find if I've got one dark colour and one light colour, that's fine. I have some little snips that came with oh, I can't remember what they came with. It came with something else that I'd ordered, and they were quite useful for a while, but they've lost their edge, and I've also lost the case, so I'm going to get rid of those. Then I have my little wooden button set. So I got this a little while ago, actually for my grandma's funeral outfit. My mum and I edited an outfit that she had that she enjoyed, as she was buried in an all-natural burial ground, so we had a go at that together, and I used some of the buttons there for her funeral outfit, but I haven't used the rest since. But I think they're so pretty, like there's so many. I don't know whether you can see with the light. Let's see if I move you this way. Is that better? Yeah, so they're just all really pretty, just wooden buttons. So I think the case is nice as well to have, so that one can go in. And then I have these little labels which I use for my knit jumpers, just to tell me which way is the back, because that is something I definitely need to know. So let's see if I can squeeze, because these are just awkward, they just go everywhere. See if I can squeeze those ones in, dump those out, and get my box closed still. Yeah, I can. Okay, so I think that feels a bit better, that I've just gotten rid of a few things. Let's come around this way again. The buttons can go in. This is my, I keep this with my little, this is my grandma's, and it's ancient, and it's like, doesn't fit around your wrist anymore, and these are her pins, so I keep these because they're hers, rather than, I could really do with some new pins. But yeah, I've had these forever, and I just keep a little glass jar so that when I'm working I put them in. It's very useful. Now I have a small human in my house, just to remind me to put them back together. And then yeah, I just put my hardware away, and then I have my actual sewing scissors, like my fabric scissors I mean. And I've got a little bit of scrap fabric here, but I've used quite a lot of this, so I made a tablecloth out of this, and with what was left, I made some decorations, like some bunting, with lots of other different blue patterned scraps that I had. And yeah, I just don't see myself using like the width of this fabric for something else. It is a linen, but I think I'm going to accept that I've got some more scraps of this one that have in my like proper scrap section upstairs that have a bit more width, and I just think they're going to be more useful for anything I might want to do. Originally I thought I might have done like a scrunchie with this, and kind of folded it up double and had it like that kind of size, can you see what I mean, but like gather it all together. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think if I'm going to do a scrunchie, I'm much more likely to knit one. So yeah, I think I'm going to donate this fabric scrap to our local like, what do you call it, like community centre. They do sewing classes and knitting classes and all sorts of things, so I'm sure that will come into use for someone else to use. But I've used the main body of the fabric and I've used scraps for most of it, and I have a few bigger squares that will be more useful, I think. So that feels, can you see, that feels better. And then I just have my sewing machine cables, so everything has to live in here. I can have cables out because of my little one. So yeah, that's my sewing box, so I'll leave that one there. And I think if I find any buttons, that's where they can live. Cool. So the one that is probably more interesting to you guys is this one. This is my knitting notions box. I used to use this and have been using this as my mending library. I have had little bits of wool in here, but I'm already finding that it's making it's too big. I can't fill it up, so I don't think that's going to work in the way that I'd hoped it was going to work. But I think it would be a really good way to store fixed circular needles in a way that's just a bit better than what I am doing. So let's get a stack of knitting notions out. Okay. So first of all, I can see some stuff that needs to be my sewing. That's a little iron-on repair patch. I think probably my darning equipment should probably be with sewing as well, right? Like, I know that I may well knit, might well repair knit items, but I think this is a repair item, feels like a sewing item. So I think sewing kit is that one. And I'm pretty sure these are buttons. Shall we see? I might even have more buttons. Yeah, these are, oh my goodness, they're so pretty. So I've got these little, oh my goodness, you can't really see. Let's film this differently. I think this might be a bit better. So they are these little ceramic, oh, it's still not very good. Try this way round. They're these little ceramic buttons. They are striped. Let's see if I can get my face out that it will focus. These little striped, just so cute. I don't know whether I'd use these on knitwear or on something sewn, but they are buttons. So I think all my buttons need to live in one place, so that if I go looking for buttons, regardless of what they're made of, I think in my head I was like, they're ceramic and I think I'd like to use them with knitwear, so they'll stay with my knitting stuff. But in practice it just means I'm like, oh, I thought I had more buttons than I did. Right, so it's not looking so bad. This is the thing, this little pouch is like my nemesis. This is why I keep thinking, oh my goodness, I need to do this, because what happens is everything that needs a home and doesn't have a home just goes into this box. So we have some toggle buttons, so the toggle buttons should go with my other buttons. I then have my fixed circulars. So this is a big part of my motivation for doing this, is to sort out my fixed circulars. I think what I'm going to do now, and I'll fast forward it for you guys, but is pull out all the different fixed circulars so that I have them all in one place. Just in case you're interested, I mostly have the Knit Pro Zing fixed circulars in different smaller circumferences, smaller gauge of needles, like thinner needles, on longer cables. So they're socks essentially, or potentially like fiddly things that just need smaller needles, and I prefer these to just be singular. I think that's easier. and I have just a few knocking about in here. The other thing that I have a few of, which I think I might just get rid, is I use the Knit Pro Zing needles as my like standard needles, though I am tempted to think about getting a second set of interchangeables, maybe a CHARGU set. I've been using some singular CHARGUs, but the Knit Pros have 360 swivel cables. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted Knit Pro. And when they originally send you the set, you do get the fixed cables, so they don't come automatically with the swivel cables. And I have to say, I think I can probably get rid of these, like as in donate them to that craft centre, because I don't think I could use non-swivel cables now. I think it would just drive me mad, and I was like, oh, I should keep them in case I have to keep stitches on hold. But I never really go to look for these if I do, because they're not that easy to find, and I don't have like lots of lengths of them. So I have 2 lengths that are fairly similar but not like loads, and weirdly they came with these pink ones. But yeah, so I think those can go for donation. I don't think that they serve a purpose for me, which is fine. I then have a really old cable needle. I think this is like a pony cable needle that I used when I used to have this style of like very basic straight needles, and I think I can say bye to this. I don't really know why I've held on to this one for so long. I do like cable needles, so here's one of my newer cable needles in kind of metal, and I prefer those. I'm mostly knit with metal needles now. But I don't know whether there was something I used that had like a heavier gauge or whatever, like a big gauge needle, and I needed a larger one. But if I'm honest, I mostly use DPNs rather than cable needles, though I do like them. So I think I will also get rid of this one, but keep hold of that cable needle. And somewhere in here I have another one, like I know I do, because I know I have a pair. I've got my barber cords. I use these a lot. They're definitely one I want to have accessible somehow. And then I actually have a fair few tape measures. So I have a little collection of different tape measures. They are all the style that pull out and zip back. I always like to have one per project bag. I'm quite fond of this one, which is the Knit Pro one, with the little sheet, and I like anything wooden. But yeah, I also have this one that's just one from Amazon, I think. So I need to have those collected. I think it makes more sense to have these kind of notions probably in here. I could really do with another like box, like similar to the one I have with my sewing, or I can see the things better, because I don't think in here it works that well for me not being able to see anything, but equally I don't want to have so much stuff to like rummage through. These also, so I have this little needle set, and technically some of these are not for knitting. Like I'd say quite a few of these are not for knitting, as they are literally like all different kinds of needles, but I have got some in there that are for knitting. I don't have 2 of these. So I could either go through, I think I might have done that actually before. Yeah, I think what I might do is maybe just go through here, and any ones that are specifically like hand sewing needles, I might put them with my pins. Again, I think that makes more sense. And then ones that I think I could reasonably use as darning needles, I'll keep in here, because you can see there's like, can you see in there? Can you see the tiny baby? That doesn't need to be in my knitting bag. So I think I'm going to do that too. I then have some knitting elastic. So this probably, I think, is going to go with my other elastic in that little bag, so that I have elastics together rather than, again, I think this is what's confusing, is because I have 2 like notions things, it's hard to know where I quite want everything to live. And I think I'd rather keep things together with like one like family of stuff than I would have to try and remember, do I have elastic that is in my knitting bag that would fit like a neckline situation, or do I have elastic that would suit like a skirt? I think let's just have elastics together. Just found another fixed circular. Then I have some fixed circulars in, as I say, various different CHARGU needles, again like different sock sizes, and I do want to move these definitely, because they've all broken through the packaging, and this isn't the easiest way to store them, but I do think I want to try and get this information somewhere. So if I can figure out how to get my label printer working again. I haven't used it since I like nested with Wit. I will do that to stick them into this. Then I have a few things that are like easier in that they'll stay. So this is my DPN set. I don't even know like what brand these are. They do fine. I think they were a set maybe that I bought online, but I genuinely don't know what they are. There's a range of sizes. They meet all of my DPN needs. I use these for cable needles. I occasionally use these for socks. So they can stay. They are essentially my cabling needles. That's what I think of them as. I then have my little shorty set. Again, it's another Knit Pro set. And these are my wooden needles. I really enjoy these ones. There's my other cable needle. There it is. I think let's take that one out of there because that clearly isn't a place I remember it being. And I think I'm gonna put, so I have more of these cable ends and keys. I'm gonna put them in there because that is what I would use to undo them, so that kind of makes sense. I then have kind of randomly yarn. So these two balls of yarn have specific purposes and they are not Stash yarn. This is what I use for my leader on my spindles or my e-spinner, and this is what I use. It's an opal sock yarn. It was very inexpensive and I don't really like the way it feels. I use this when I've spun up a skein of hand spun to secure it. So that's what I use this for. So they both stay in my knitting bag because they are used regularly, but they're just not used for knitting. I have all the wires and cables from my e-spinner. I have my set of basic stitch markers, which I actually really enjoy. I like using those different colours, particularly when I'm working on more complex projects. I randomly have and have fished out a load of hair ties. So I don't know why they're in there, but they can find another home. And then I have one lone US size 7 Knit Pro. I think maybe the other one got stuck, but this isn't going to fit in my case, and the chances of me like digging through here are pretty low. So I think I'm just going to get rid of that single. I think I was holding on to it because I was like, oh my god, they must break all the time. And I think I was really unlucky. I literally had just tried them on, and I think it wasn't actually the needle. I think it was the cable had an error in it, and it just broke the needle off. So yeah, but then it kind of, yeah. So it's just weird, isn't it? Things like that are just weird. I haven't ever had the problem again, so I kind of don't think it's that recurrent anyway. Then what do we have next? So I keep these little tins as my like notions on the go for like smaller projects. So I have this one here. I have another one that's in use. I have two that are in use. And then this is where I keep, these pillbox is where I keep my notions, where I like shop from, if that makes sense, when I have a project. So all of these things I think make sense to stay in this knitting box. I've already lost the cable needle. No, I haven't. Here it is. I think I might put the cable needles with my fixed circulars, which sounds a bit weird, but I think if I was looking for needles, I'd look where needles are. So I think I'm going to put them in there. Okay, bear with. I'm going to do some tidying and sorting, and then we're going to see what we can do about this. Okay, so I managed to get all of my buttons in here. I think that looks so much better. Okay, I'm so much happier with that. So cable needles, and then I have my Knit Pros, and this means these ones are long enough to do Magic Leap. I think I got the 100cm ones, but I have the full Knit Pro set all the way down to a US 0, so a 2mm needle. And then I have my ChiaoGus here, so I just have a US size 1, a US size 1.5, and a 9-inch circular in a US size 1, because this is basically sock knitting. And it now closes comfortably, which is so much better. So that's now like a fixed needle, a fixed circular needle. case. I don't know whether this would be magic if that fit and this thing closed. It's magic, it's meant to be. So, sorry, I'm super enthusiastic about it. So that means this is now what my knitting station box looks like. So those are my sock knitting needles. These are my tape measures and various notions, which I put into project bags. My DPNs, my shorties, my stitch markers, and then my two balls of yarn that are not balls of yarn. And then that space along the side, I'm going to put my sewing machine pedals in, because like I said, we don't do any cables upstairs, and they're all wired in if we have to. So yeah, these can live comfortably down the side, and I'm so much happier with that. I feel like I didn't actually get rid of much. Well, I got rid of some, but more I just kind of genuinely organised my space, and that just feels so much better. Like, that feels so much more approachable to look in than just the mess it was before with all of those various things floating around.
Which leaves us.
So it's been a little bit of time now, and I've just been so focused on knitting this Victoria shawl. I'm really enjoying the lace, and it's making me think that I might do my other gift knit with the single ply. Did I show you in this video? I don't know, we might see it later. But in the teal, I'm thinking that I might need to do another lace shawl. I thought, so I'm obviously working my way through the Victoria now. There she is, the Victoria. Lace and blocking, right? But I was thinking, sorry, just flicking through so that you can't see the patterns. I was thinking about maybe doing this one. It's a feather and fan style lace shawlette. But this one is in a worsted weight, and I would be doing this in fingering weight held double. So I'd need to do some maths to figure out whether this would come to like a decent scarf size. I think rather than doing a swatch, I may just cast on and see how far I get, like 25% of the way through, because the length and the width are both adjustable. I think it's worth a shot. I think because I'm enjoying the lace so much, blocking the pattern, I think the opportunity to try and do that could be fun. And because it's not a fitted garment, I don't know, I think it could be good fun. Also, these look cute together, don't they? It looks cute. I also, knitting project wise, brought home my sock whip, my work sock whip. So this is literally my normal plain vanilla sock. I was too frightened at work to do an afterthought heel, and I will do for my next pair, partly because I wanted to actually see, like, I couldn't really understand what it would look like not to, like, to do a heel flap and gusset. I couldn't find many pictures of it done, and it just affects the stripes basically, not in a way that I don't think it's particularly unpleasant. I think it's just, if you want the stripes to be consistent the whole way through, you won't get that. You'll get this kind of section in the middle where you're doing your heel turn and stuff, where you get a different pattern. I think they're kind of cool. They'll be my mix matched socks, but I'm having to be really mindful about my yarn usage. So this is why I took them home, because I knew I was going to need to weigh them. So this is what I'm going to need to cast on for. This is orange in the video, but it is pink, I promise. Yeah, this is what I'm going to need to cast on for my second sock. So I can't use this amount here. So I need to get as far as I can on this sock with this little ball here. I think I'm probably going to just about make it to the end of my foot length. And then I'm going to use red for the toe. I have a red that will match this red quite nicely. I kind of wish I'd done it with the heel, but I'm at a point where at work I'd already knitted to about here, and I don't really want to rip all of that heel out. I think they're cute, and I think it's also kind of fun. It was my first ever self-striping yarn, so I think it's fun to have that little thing in the middle to be like, hey, yeah, I did it that way around. So yeah, I took these ones home. I'm probably going to keep this at home until I've knitted through my little balls, so that I can do the toe at home with the other ball of yarn, and then I can take just this little one back to work with my needle, because it just takes ages. I only get like 20 minutes sometimes at lunch at work to knit. So yeah, it just takes ages to knit at work, and I don't want to be bringing like a whole nother ball of yarn. So yeah, so I took that one home with me today. Let's put that one back in there actually. And then I cast on another pair of socks to have a home pair of socks as my portable project, because whilst this is size-wise totally portable, lace-wise it's just not great for when I'm out and about with wet, and you need to be able to just like on a dime spin different priorities. Yeah, so I'm basically doing accessory knitting right now, which is kind of fun, like project size and stuff. Feels like a nice different way of doing things. And I've decided I'm not going to film my dressmaking in this vlog. I think it's going to be an accessories vlog, because I really think I should do a project vlog of me making a dress. It was number 1 on my makers like list, my Make 9 for this year. It's such a commitment. I've always wanted to do it, and I've never even tried, and I think I need to document it for myself. And I think doing so in this video wouldn't get the whole picture. So I think we're going to see me finishing this shawl, maybe me choosing another shawl pattern and starting to edit it, and hopefully finishing up some socks. It's kind of getting late, it's 20 to 10, so I'm going to get myself a cup of decaf tea and take my nighttime meds, and I'm just watching some YouTube. I'm watching, Ali Makes Everything. She's doing a decluttering series. I actually ended up watching her knitting notions organising after I'd done mine yesterday. So yeah, I don't know like whether the algorithm just was hearing me talk or what, but yeah, it was a good video. So I'm watching her do her yarn destash. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to carry on. I have done my lace patterning and all my increases, and I'm now doing the decreases, and it's kind of that addicting bit where you know that every row you do, or every other row you do, you're losing stitches, so it's getting quicker and quicker. And I think once I get to like this point, like I'm not too far off, right? That's kind of what, like another lace repeat. This bit is gonna just fly off. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue working on this one. I'm excited to see how this one blocks out. I'm hoping that it's gonna be pretty, and I'm gonna try and like fairly aggressively block this one. I think that's the way I want to go, because the pattern, if I kind of pull it out, you can really see it. So I think I just need to go a bit hard with this one. But first I have to knit it. That's step 1. And I'm enjoying this single ply as well. I think it's obviously very delicate, but a lace scarf, I feel like that's a pretty delicate object. So I feel as though it feels okay. Cool. See you guys in a bit. Hello. So it's Friday and I've just finished work, and I've had some knitting post arrive, and I thought it'd be fun to open it up together. Collecting WIT tonight, but Tom's still off on leave this week, so we have a fairly sort of chill weekend ahead of us. We're going to go see his mum and dad on Sunday, and my mum's going to have WIT for a bit tomorrow for us, which will be really good, because I'm keen to wash my car. It's just really hard to do with a baby. But yeah, so I have a few bits that have been winging their way to me. We're going to explore what they are together. Oh, I'm excited. So the first one that I have is actually another t-shirt by the Crow Bear, and I wanted this one really badly. I actually wanted it originally in the red, but I've decided that I think the blue would be really nice. I don't have that much blue in my wardrobe, and I got the what was it called, like Skein Admirer or something one, and I got this one too, because I just felt like I was going to regret it if I didn't. I missed out on this one when it came out last, and just kept wishing I'd bought it. So this is my Yarn Club t-shirt. That's super exciting. Cool. So next, let's go for this one. It's just happened to all turn up at once. I haven't even saved it like for multiple days. This has all arrived today. It's like a sign of my lack of impulse control, but hey ho. So this one is from the Oxford Yarn Store, and I just got a couple of little bits from them. It comes all nicely packaged, which is very cute. So I bought another set of Merchant & Mills bulb pins. Do I need to cut this? Let me get my handy scissors. I use this, I've actually got the other box in here, for my socks now, and it's become such a standard part of how I knit my socks that I don't think I could knit socks without it anymore. So yeah, all of that to say, I wanted to have a box for home. So normally the box is with my work pair of socks. I'll just show you on this sock what I normally do. So rather than have to keep counting, I put these in every 10 rounds throughout the whole sock, and then I keep them on the sock until both socks are finished, so that if I ever like, oh, I can't quite remember what I did, I don't have to guess. I can just look and count those to give me the leg length and the foot length for any pair of socks I knit. So I wanted to be able to have the little box to have at work, because it is really useful to have them there, and if you like lose one or it drops off or whatever, then I have them there. But I'm also knitting a pair of socks at home at the moment, and I really miss them. I was just like, none of my other markers are too thick for fingering weight, and I just got these ones in black. And yeah, I use them for all kinds of projects, but for socks they've just proven really useful. And then as soon as I was placing an order, I just thought I'd grab myself a magazine. I haven't bought a knitting magazine in a minute or two, and I just think they're a nice thing to have. So I got this edition of Lane. This is the Spring 2025 edition, and it's issue, what are you? Issue 24. I would love to collect all the back issues of this. This is like a, I don't know, a desire of mine, but I love that it has articles in there as well. So this is going to be a treat for the weekend, to have a chance to read this one. And yeah, I just really enjoy it. So it has like little articles as well as the patterns that are in here, and I think it's always such a lovely treat. So a cup of tea, maybe a piece of cake, maybe even a cafe if my mum has wit, maybe even a cafe with Lane magazine. And then this last one should be Fiverr. So this one has come, I think, all the way from Canada. All the way from Canada. I don't think I realised that. Normally when I order things on Etsy, which is where this is from, I have it filtered so it only shows UK sellers. But this one must have snuck through, and the shipping must not have been that bad. So let's have a little look. This, I think, is Roving. It is my Roving. So this is from Fairy Tale Wool, and I just wanted to try Roving, and I like the look of this. Let's get it out. Here we are. So yeah, this is what it is. Is it Roving? This is bats. This is a bat. Is that not a bat? Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's a bat. How did she describe it? Yeah, she does do Roving and bats. I wonder if I ordered the bat, because I'm pretty sure that's a bat. I don't know if it says on the order. It doesn't. It says Rolex. Interesting. This is a bat. I'm wondering now whether, because I definitely ordered a bat as well, whether this is the bat and I've just mistaken which shop it was from. But yeah, I've never done it from a bat either. I think what I'm going to do is like lay it flat and then go up and down it. I've seen people describe doing it like that, so I don't want to mess it up too much, but if I open it, the idea of kind of doing it in stripes. Yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting to try and spin from some different preparations. Yeah, I don't know why. I swear the notification said that the Rolex had arrived. I must have remembered wrong. But so yeah, that's my first ever like art bat that I'm going to spin from. I'm going to put it back in this packet. That wasn't what it came in, but it has expanded beyond, like, I don't know how. I'm not quite sure how she managed that. So I'm going to put it in a slightly bigger package just so it doesn't get everywhere. But yeah, pretty, very soft. Let's have a look. It's called Sunset's End, and it is a bat, and it is dyed by Fairy Tale Wool. That's a little label there on Etsy. I don't think it says what the fibre is anywhere. Can't see what it says what the fibre is. But yeah, just me trying some different fibre preparations. Do you know what? I'm actually just going to check my post box, because I swear in my head the Rolex had arrived as well. They have not arrived. I'm going to check my phone and see what I thought I saw. I'm going to go pick up Wit now, but I just thought I would share my little haul with you. Really lovely bits and pieces in there. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to this weekend. I really feel like, I don't know whether it's just because we've had a busy week or what, but I feel like I'm ready for a little bit of a rest this weekend. Okay, so I have a plan for tonight. I have so many different things I want to do craft-wise, and it is about 10 to 7, and I need to try and do some of them because my brain is just so fixated on doing some stuff. So I think what I want to do is I think I'm going to do an hour of 3 different three different knitting or fibre related tasks. So I'm going to carry on with my shawl. I'm well into the decrease section now, which is really satisfying, and every row gets smaller. It scratches an itch. So there's the peak point there, and I'm just getting to here, so we're kind of narrowing off a little bit now, and I definitely want to get to the end of the chart repeats. I think I'm going to set the timer for a full hour, knit on this one for the full hour, and then I need to wind some wool over my whip basket to finish the toe of my sock. Let's have a look. So we talked about my work socks, I think, earlier. Here we go. So I have knitted one whole sock barring the toe, so I've literally just got to put the toe on that sock, and then I took my car to the car wash this afternoon and I cast on the cuff of the next sock just whilst I was waiting in line. So I have to wind the wool for that because I have a whole skein of Sin by Hedgehog Fibres that I'm going to make another pair of hibernal socks with, but I want to use that as the toe colour. So I need to wind that up, but I'm thinking I will probably wind up a bit, like maybe 20 grams worth, and then stop winding it and keep the rest in a skein, because I kind of don't know if I want the whole lot wound right now. So that's what I need to do there. And then I have my other pair of socks, but they're just hanging out for a bit. And then I really want to do a bit of spinning. I think I'm going to spin my grey Corridel from Loom, and try and do another fractal spin. So I just like to get that started, and I feel like an hour of spinning would be good. So yeah, I'm going to do 7 till 8 as knitting on my Victoria scarf, then I think spinning in the middle, so 8 till 9 on my spinning, and then 9 till 10 winding up that sock yarn, re-skeening the skein, and hopefully just knitting the toe, the wedge toe, so that I have one finished sock, and then I might try and finish, if I have time, the calf. I haven't got many rows left, so that I'm just in the stockinette. But I think that's what I'm going to do tonight, is a bit of a pick and mix. So I'm going to use my husband's ADHD timer to accompany me as I do some knitting. Oh my goodness, the flies are back. As I do some more knitting tonight, and I'm gonna be watching some more flock vlogs. I'm gonna try and make my way through most of them. I love Fiberfest vlogs. So yeah, see you in a bit. We are 1 hour later, and I've made it all the way down to my next set of lace repeats. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. That was my hour. I had a proper faff. I had like half an hour where one row of this lace wasn't right, and it was just such a pain to figure out what I'd done wrong. Basically, I think I'd skipped because what I'd had done, I hadn't skipped. This is 2 single plies that I'm holding together. I'd interpreted it on one of my wrong side rows as 2 separate stitches. So I'd added a stitch, but I didn't figure that out for like such a long time. I was just focusing on the knit side because I was just like, what have I done wrong? And it wasn't until I went back another row basically into my purl side and was like, oh, there you are. So yeah, it took me a minute to fix that. It took me literally half an hour to do one row, and then the rest I just whacked out in the last half an hour. So I'm getting more towards the kind of peak of the shawl again. It's so satisfying when you're decreasing. Like, I find working things from end to end so satisfying, because it's like you're getting used to the pattern for the first half, and then you're like, oh my goodness, every row is faster. So yeah, I enjoyed that for my first hour. I think because I've just had a faff for so long, I'm not going to do my spinning next. I think I'm going to wind up my yarn and finish my sock, because I feel like that is, wedge toes just don't take any time, and I can wind up some yarn and get that all sorted, and I think I'll feel really satisfied having that sorted. I think what I'm going to do is make a mini skein amount. It's like 20 grams, 20 grams, maybe 10 grams. Should I make 10 grams? I think I'm going to make 10 grams then of my sin and get that all skeined up so that I have 5 grams for each toe. My socks generally are 25 grams in total, so I feel like 5 grams each for the toe feels okay. And I'm going to pop this one back in its project bag. It's so pretty. I'm very happy with this. I really hope that the recipient will be too when it eventually makes its way to her. And I'm also so excited to block this one and just see how it blooms. I think that's going to be so much fun. So yeah, I'm going to do some wool winding and finish a sock. So this is 12 grams. I think that was a pretty good guesstimation for my toes. So it's been an hour and I am still on my toe. I had a bit less time than I'd hoped because it's just been really unsettled. It's 9:10 and he's still awake. He is having real trouble with his tummy and we don't know why. The doctors did some tests, they don't know why. Yeah, so it might be that. We will see. But so I think with that in mind, as fun as it would be to break up the spinning wheel and have a bit of like a later night with it, I think what I'm going to do is finish up this toe. I have 4 more decrease rounds to go. And I think this red is a pretty good match, right? Let's try and get the two together. For this red here, I think they look okay, don't they? I think the one that's actually in the yarn is a little bit oranger than the one I have here than Sin, but I think all in all it looks as if I'm using the same colour yarn. I do kind of wish I'd done a contrast heel, but not enough to do anything about it. I am going to finish this up and weigh it and weigh this, because I know what this weighed before. I know what I have left, and if I'm short I might have a mix match pair and I might try and do the heel flap and gusset in the red on one and just have a mix matched pair, but we'll see, because it would alter my striping, wouldn't it? I don't know. I think maybe we try and do it. I may end up with a slightly longer red section on one toe if I do it that way around, but yeah, I do wish I'd done it here, but it's okay. It was a lesson learned. I know now why I would bother with a self-striping yarn altering my favourite heel. So yeah, I think it feels good. So I'm going to carry on with this, and what I might do is like half an hour down here and try and finish this toe, and then don't drop it, and then go upstairs and do a little bit more lace in bed with a podcast. That's been really relaxing lately. I particularly like Pardon My Stash. I listen to a lot of Pardon My Stash. It's my like commuting podcast, but yeah, I think that's what I'm going to try and do, because I feel like then I would have achieved what I wanted to achieve, and I've got to a good point with my lace as well. We have a sock. I have quite a lot left of my red. I haven't weighed it or anything. I think it looks like a pretty good fit, this one. Maybe a little bit loose just here, but pretty good overall. I'm happy with it. I think I've got a little bit of laddering going on just along here, just where I've been placing these markers. I don't know whether that's maybe because I've been knitting at work and at small intervals, so I haven't kind of been paying as much attention. But we have a sock, and I have just started the cuff of the second sock, like just moved it on a little bit further. I'm gonna tidy up all my ends and my stitch markers and hair clips and various things, but it is now 10 o'clock, so I don't think I'm going to do any more lace sitting. I think it's a bit late. I'm just going to take my sock cuff to bed with me. And probably just, yeah, listen to some podcasts in bed. I think that's my plan. And I do mean like proper podcasts. Like I'm watching knitting podcasts, which are fab, but yeah, audio podcasts. I just want to get this one to the stockinette part, and then everything can go back in my little work bag. I can return that to work next week. I toyed with whether I wanted to like finish them because I've kind of started them at home now, but I think I'm cool. I think I might bring it home when I do the heel turn, just because I want to do that in one go and I won't have time to do that at work. But yeah, I like the idea of these being my work socks, and I'm going to leave this guy in my project bag alongside my other socks so that I can have something to compare it to. So yeah, I'm going to tidy up and get myself ready for bed. My mum is going to have WIP for a few hours for me tomorrow, so I'm hoping I might get some spinning done maybe tomorrow. But I'm pretty happy. I finished a sock and I got much further in my lace project, so I think this worked. I just didn't get to do spinning because of reasons outside of my control, small humans. But yes, hey Foz, I think this is definitely a sign that it's time to go up to bed. Hey sweetie. Good morning. So, last night, wrong way around, I already put the time in on this one, and today my mum has WIP for the day, which was a really nice surprise. It wasn't something we were planning on, but yeah, she's going to have him all the way through until his dinner time, so for the first time in a long while I have a whole day to just craft and do whatever I want, which is, yeah, so exciting. So my first plan is to finish up this because I'm getting close and I feel like the satisfaction is going to be unreal. I am following a chart for the first time. Well, not the first time. I'm following a chart for the first time with lace of this kind, and I've done like other charts a long time ago, like when I was last really into knitting, which was like probably a decade ago, when I did lots of like beadwork charts. But yeah, this is my first time doing charts in a while, and I'm just loving it. I was a little bit intimidated. I was like, will I remember how to do this? Will I find it really difficult to follow? Will I not know how to fix my mistakes? And actually it's just been so fun. Absolutely loved it. So I think I'm going to just blast through the end of this one, and then I'm planning on casting on my dress today. That feels like such a big deal to be able to say that. But yeah, I am. I'm going to cast my dress on. And I'm nervous, but I looked at the pattern last night and I was like, there's no reason to be nervous. The pattern is fine. It's just a large object. And I also have been really paranoid that I keep checking I have enough yarn, because I was obviously going to make a jumper with it, and I'm now making a much larger garment with it, and it's fine. I've checked it like so many times and I definitely have enough. I have enough even to do like one size up, and I've checked my gauge already and my gauge is spot on, so I don't need to worry. I can just do it, and I think today's the day to do it. I think like there's something about me being in the headspace to do it, so I'm going to be filming that separately. I'm going to try and film that on my camera. This is on my phone. I usually vlog on my phone, just so that I keep the two things charged and state or whatever. And then I think, because I just want to get that like cast on, it's not about finishing it, it's just about like the process of starting it. I think then I'm going to start doing some spinning, and I'm tempted to either start spinning up the bat, which could be really good fun, or to try and spin the Corriedale. I'm not really sure which. I think probably the bat appeals because it's just a whole different skill set, and again I think days like this where I have the time, which is pretty rare when you have a baby, like it feels like maybe trying a different fibre craft, but today's the right kind of a day to be doing that. So I think that's my plan for the day. I think I'm going to do lots of crafts. Tom and I are going to do a film night tonight, so I will have some time to kind of like go out into town and go and get some dinner and get some snacks and stuff. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a good day, and I'll let you hang around and just watch me do my knitting for a little bit whilst I watch a bit of YouTube. I'm watching Uncomfy's channel. You may already have heard of her, to be fair, but she's an artist who makes a variety of different objects. So she works with clay, she works with prints, she's currently designing a new colouring book, and she makes plushies, or rather, like, she has plushies made, like she designs plushies. So she's very cool. I really like her art style, and I find it really inspiring to watch videos of different kinds of artists when I make things. I think it reminds me that art comes in all different forms, and what I'm doing is art. It takes practice and learning, and there is creativity within it, there's problem solving abilities within it, and I'm allowed to think of myself that way. It's really hard to think of myself that way, that this is creative work that has a purpose, but it does. I think in my head I'd only be an artist if I was designing my own patterns, which is a hard barrier, right? But yeah, it counts, it all counts. So I'm going to carry on watching her channel and just knit my way through this chart. It's really not going to take me very long. I'm getting down into the end now. Look at, you can see the lace pattern kind of when I've got light behind me. So I'll check back in with you when we're all finished. We're gonna head out and find brunch. I've just finished blocking, not finished blocking, just started blocking my shawl. I'm very excited, but I'm just gonna show you quickly. I'm gonna turn my camera around. Tom managed to felt my knitting in our new washing machine, and I am gutted. I'm trying to be really chill about it for Tom because I know it was just a mistake, but I'm gonna show you that quickly too. That was my shell tee. Oh, it's so tiny. Yeah, but this one is blocking. Look at that. The pattern is definitely starting to come out. So that's really exciting. We're gonna go out for brunch now. I'm thinking about how I can try and use the felt that has been produced in a nice way. Wish me luck.
Put your phone up.
I'm vlogging the beginning of my dress. It's a long project.
Are you starting your dress now?
Yeah. That's why I said that's why I said that it's a big deal. We're starting it now. I need a cable quite that long.
Just gonna shrunk your t-shirt this morning.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't even think it was big enough to fit Wit.
I know. You came in with such hope. Is this Wits? No, it's not Wits. It's right, you know very well it's your wife's.
I didn't actually. When you edge up someone's t-shirt.
There's a new vegetable shop there, look.
Tomatoes.
Yeah. And here she is blocking. I'm very happy with this. I'm hoping it's going to dry nice and quick in the sunshine, but yeah, looks really good. I also thrifted this top secondhand while we were out. It's from Boden, and yeah, just in this checked pink. I think it's pretty. I never wear pink really, but I think this suits me pretty well. It's an extra large, but I don't think it looks that big. I'm usually a large, and I think that's pretty. So finished my current project. I have cast on my dress. I think what I'm going to do is, this is what's left of the skein from the scarf. I think I'm just going to ball this one up so it's a bit more manageable. I thought about skeining it up, but I don't know if I can be bothered, or can I? Do you know what, maybe I will, because then I might be able to sell it on Vinted. And then I'm going to do some spinning. We're going to do some spinning. So we're going to choose which fibres to spin with together soon. And here's what my little scrappy mini looks like. I'm gonna just list this one for like £1 or something, and if somebody wants it to try out the yarn, they can go for it. It's only about 15 grams, 17 I think, but I'll list it as 15. Yeah, so that's that little one. So I'm gonna go list that one now and choose my fibre. Okay, so we're gonna practice and do some spinning from a bat for the first time. Here is the bat. I am a bit intimidated about this, if I'm honest. So I might need to move back a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So let's tilt you down a bit more. Okay, so you can't see my face now, but you can see the bat. So what I am going to do, this bit isn't attached. I'm going to pull that bit off. And I'm just going to try and lay flat as much of this bat as I can. This has got some black merino, so you might be able to see in there, there's some black merino. It's got some Surrey silk, and it's got some other dyed fibres, like mixed dyed fibres in it. You can see some more of the black in there. So this is truly like an art bat. Now, the way I've seen people try and describe how to do this before is almost like to zigzag up and down your bat. So I think I'm going to try and do that, and I will spin this one up first just as it's separated, and I think that was my bad rather than it being shipped that way, because I just have taken it out of the bag a few times to show you guys. So what I've seen is people doing this and then leaving a bit there so it stays connected. Can you kind of see what I'm doing? And then working your way back up the bat in the other direction, so you kind of end up with one long piece like you would for a braid. So I'm just going to work my way along the bat, trying to separate it like so. My cat is interested, which I'm not very surprised about. To be fair, this is woolly and strange for her, I'm sure. I'm not sure if I'm separating this like thin enough, but it will be fine. We're going to be drafting this, so I'm not worried. Let's work our way back down. It's interesting because it feels like there's way more merino like at the end here, and then there's some pieces of separate fibres that are almost like coming out completely. I'm just going to give it a go. I think that's like part of the fun of crafts, isn't it? Like being able to just give stuff a go. So let's separate this guy out like so. So here is all of the bat in one piece. I think what I'm going to do is maybe split this into two like chunks if I can. Let's see. So if I kind of take this bit here as the center, that leaves me with sort of one clump of fibre, and then this one here. I'm going to take that one out just because that's falling out. And then that is two clumps of fibre here. This one feels a lot bigger. And I think what I'm going to do is thin this one so it's like the same. I'm just going to try and work that purple back in. So I think I'm going to line this one up and then pair it with my smaller quantity and then weigh these so that I can have these be my plies. And we're just going to go with it. So let me go get my scales and come back. Okay, we are back. I'm going to use my trusty tray to try and weigh this. Oh no, it's not quite going to work that way. Let's pop it on the tray and see whether I can weigh it like this. So that weighs 35 grams, this section here. Let's see how much this one weighs. $39 grams. I'm just going to try and weigh that one more time just to be sure. Yeah, 35/36. So I need to take just a little bit of this side over. See if that makes it. I've now made it 39, so I think this one will now be 36. normally I use a bowl to put this in. I haven't got my bowl with me. And my found one, so yeah. So let's cut that one in half and then we'll just call that even Stevens. So this is part 1, this is part 2, and we know we never spin completely evenly anyway, so I'm not overly worried about that. And what I'm going to try and do, I think this is going to be my second fly. I'm just going to do a 2 fly. I'm still waiting on a new bobbin, which I ordered but hasn't turned up yet. So yeah, that's my second half of the spin, and then I will use this bag, this postal bag. I'll just take my address off just so I don't accidentally dox myself. I'm going to use this one as my other bag within my spin. I hate it when the labels don't come off. I think I'm going to ruin the bag if I do that. We're just going to have to be careful. And I think I'm just going to go for it. Like, I feel like that's the right thing to do. Let's let you see my face again. Wonky. There we go. So yeah, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to see how this spins up. This will be my second half to have a go at. And I'm just going to take it nice and slow and enjoy the process and enjoy some of the learning. I'm not going to pre-draft this, I think, because it's quite fluffy already, and it was sort of wanting to pull some pieces out as I was just getting it started. So I think I'm not going to pre-draft. I think I'm just going to go slow and draft as I go. But yeah, that was fun. This is a totally different way of spinning for me, so exciting.
Part of the reason I ended up having to leave my full-time job was as I've sort of been pursuing.
So this is proving to be quite a difficult spin. There's quite a lot of VM in here, and there's actually, you can see another bit there, and there's actually quite a lot of neps in the wool, which is difficult because I'm trying to catch the silk, I don't know if you can see, like with the wool as I'm spinning. Which means it's hard to kind of break and pull out to get rid of the nets. So we're doing the best we can. We have some yarn going onto the bobbin, but it's not the easiest spin, and I am wondering whether these kind of art bats maybe aren't the best for my current level of spinning, but we're having fun, we're enjoying it, and that's the main thing, right? And I think, it's so hard to show you thread, isn't it? I think it's okay as we go, but there are definitely some parts, maybe I'll just see some in here, where we have some like unevenness, where I've had to stop and pull out neps and stuff, like, and there, can you see one there? Yeah, so we persist, and I'm not quite sure what fibres they are. I feel like the purples and the pinks and the blues are silk. Then the black in there that you can see is definitely merino, but I think there's a different sheep here, and it kind of reminds me of the Shetland. I don't know what it is, but there's like this wool just here, this kind of brownish colour that it isn't merino. Like, I'm not sure what it is, but the staple length is very different, and this is the part that's neppy. So yeah, it's kind of fun. I'm having to manage lots of different things as I spin, and as always, it's a learning experience. I'm watching Cozy Books and Knits spin with me video as I'm doing my spinning, and I do realise I need to go and get some oil. So I think when I finish this, I'm going to go and get my oil and make sure I oil the wheel, because I learnt recently I'm supposed to do it every 2 hours. I haven't been doing it every 2 hours. I've been doing it like between each project. So yeah, this is what we have of the first half of the bat. This is what I'm just going to spin up now, and I think then I might oil my machine and maybe take a pause there, just because it is getting into the afternoon, and I think I want to make a little bit more progress on my dress. Oh, I love that one. That is a pattern I hope is in this edition. So we're back at the wheel for the second time today. and I decided to swap out how I was drawing drawing my father, and because I was really struggling to work with it. It was just all the nets were stressing me out, and I think I was just struggling with the silk of it. And I was drafting with a short backward draft, and I think that was a big part of what was causing me issues and what was making this harder than it needed to be. So I swapped to a short forward draw because I think there's enough silk in here that the silk is overpowering the wool, and I've not spun a lot of silk yet, but the silk that I spun in my other mixed merino wasn't that. It was, what was it? Little I don't know, little square things. I don't know how they were prepared, to be fair. I found that the short forward draw seemed to be far easier for me, like I had way more control than with the short backward draw. And I don't know if that's a silk thing or whether that's just a beginner spinner thing or what, but I definitely feel like this is going easier now that I'm short forward draw rather than short backward draw. So yeah, I mean, that's a good learning point as well. I'm definitely like inchworming. I don't know whether you can see my hands, because I'm being careful. Like here there's a net, so I'm just having to be quite aware of how much I'm letting go toward the wheel. That was my bad, because I pulled forward toward the wheel and then had to remove those nets. Yeah, I'm just being cautious about how much I'm letting feed in before I have the ability to stop it, because of the fact there's a lot of neps in the wool that's there. So yeah, that's kind of means it's a little bit slower than it would normally be, but I think it's a better spin. The other thing I wonder, and I don't really know how to do this yet, is maybe because this fibre is carded? Yeah, carded, not combed, right? That's what a bat is. I'm wondering whether I should be spinning this woolen. And I've never done that before. So that might also be part of what I'm trying to learn. Please, if you're an experienced spinner, let me know what I should be doing. At the minute, it's all just playing and figuring stuff out. Sorry, more VM. And I think that's fine for where I am right now. I'm a big advocate of giving myself room to be shit at stuff. Not in a judgmental way, like in a way that I think that's the only way we kind of truly grow as people, is by giving ourselves like full permission to suck at stuff. And to also not be frightened of showing you me sucking at stuff. It is, I think, easier when you have a public channel to feel the pressure to be showing people like how to do things right, or that because I'm making videos about my knitting or my spinning, that I need to be performing those things at a level that means that I'm somehow an authority on those topics. And I think that's a really odd thing. I don't think that's a Sophie thing, I think that's a broader thing. But I do think it's a very odd thing. Like, I've definitely seen on Craftsnark, that I go on sometimes late at night, like disdain for YouTubers who are making knitting content, who haven't been knitting for very long, who would describe themselves as beginner knitters. And I don't really understand it, because I don't think that just having a public presence on a social media platform necessarily means you're intending to influence others, or that you're sharing a way of doing something that is in any way to be imitated or to be valued by other people. I do think it's genuinely just a way of reflecting what your own journey is, and I think it would be fine to have a knitting channel as you're learning your very first like square of garter stitch. I think that's absolutely fine. So yeah, I do try on here to show you me starting and failing stuff, and I try on Instagram as well. Like, I felt quite self-conscious about it because I posted my very first spin. I think it's still on my Instagram. I don't think it was a story, I'm pretty sure it was a post, and it was like very much not aesthetic, and lots of the yarns that I've been spinning recently are not aesthetic yarns. Like, they're not these beautiful products that look like Spin Cycle or whatever, but they're things I've made and they're things I'm proud of. So yeah, that's me kind of fighting the demons and trying to learn. So if you have thoughts about how to spin like a bat like this, or you have so many different fiber types, so many different like unpredictable lengths of fiber, like some silk and some wool, all kinds of stuff, let me know. And it might be that you say like, actually this is a harder thing to spin with, so maybe that's part of it too. And I'm not necessarily like afraid of that. I think I learn something through every process, and it's not as though I'm like, oh well, I don't care that this is technically harder and I'll be able to do it. It's saying, okay, but my aim isn't necessarily to make something workable all the time. Sometimes it is to just try things, because I think that gives me confidence to be like, oh okay, I actually even know what this thing is. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna carry on spinning for a little while, try and fight my way with the naps and the VM that's in this one. I don't think this has been a very pleasant spin, and as I say, some of it may be me, some of it may be the actual fibre or material isn't like aligning with what I like, but we'll see. I think it'd be interesting to see what this comes out as. I'm enjoying the process of spinning. Like, I'm very glad I've managed to have some spinning time in today. I just think, yeah, something about the VM in the wool, the amount of different silk fibres, different wools. I'm sure there are 2 different wools in this. Maybe I should check. I'm just looking, I can't see. It just says naturally dyed wool, silk and more. So yeah, I'm not sure what the and more is or what some of these fibres might be. I think it could just be random stuff, like one of those art bats where it's just a collection of things that someone's made, and that it may be a little bit unclear. And yeah, anyway, I'm having fun doing it, I'm having fun doing the learning, and hopefully you're enjoying watching me fumble my way around all of these different crafts. So this is how it turned out on the bobbin. Well, that's not liking focusing, there we go. So it is what it is. And the bobbin is so poorly built because I was just focusing on trying to get the fibre drafted. But yeah, this will be a fun one to have spun up. And as I say, it's all about that learning process. It really doesn't want to focus. I think I'll move it out of the way for you. I will show you. So this is the shawl that's been blocking. I'm really happy with that. That's my little swatch thing. And it's 5 o'clock, so my flower's pretty. So we're getting close towards the time where we need to pick up WIT. So I'm going to go and tell Tom that I think we should probably start to get ourselves sorted and do some housework and stuff so that we're in a good place to pick him up and have a good evening. So I'm going to go, like, just put some things away, do a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of housework, a little bit of life admin. But there we go. There's my bobbin. And that is half, so I'm going to apply it. But it's fun. It's different colours, different fibres, different textures. And it's all learning, isn't it? So I just wanted to check in to close off this video. I have just finished spinning up my bat. That's what it looks like. I think they look pretty equal. And it's about 9 o'clock on Sunday night. I've had such a lovely weekend of crafting, and hopefully it's been fun to join along and see some lace knitting and some sock stuff and some spinning, all sorts really, in the last few days. Yeah, hopefully you've had the chance to join along and do some cozy crafting, and I'll see you guys soon in my next video. Bye!